Hello, YouTube family. This is the Lieberman here, and happy Armed Forces Day for all the people that are in the Armed Forces or people that didn't serve in the Armed Forces, but at the same time have been spouses of Armed Force people, children. Happy Armed Forces Day. Armed Forces Day is normally observed on the third Saturday in May, and it precedes Armed Forces Week, which starts the second Sunday in May. But because of unique training schedules, National Guard and Reserve units may acknowledge Armed Forces Week anytime during the month of May. So I've got some readings that I just want to read because I'm throwing this video together quick because I didn't even realize it was Armed Forces Day, else I would have been much more prepared, especially since I'm in the Armed Forces myself, retired. Armed Forces Day is a special holiday for all people all over the world to come together and to thank the men and women in the United States Armed Forces. Thank you. It was first conceived by President Harry Truman. The holiday was established in 1949, so it got some history. The creation of a single-day celebration for all 5 branches of the United States military made sense due to its recent unification under the Department of Defense. Today, Armed Forces is celebrated, like I said, the third Saturday of every May. This year it's falling on today, May 20th. Okay, the history of Armed Forces Day. The history of the United States Armed Forces spans over 2 centuries. The United States rapidly evolved from being a nation fighting for independence against Great Britain between 1775 and 1783, and fighting in the landmark American Civil War from 1861 to 1865, to proving their valor and strength during World War II, and finally emerging as a world superpower towards the end of the 20th century. The U.S. Armed Forces comprise 5 branches of the military: the Army, the Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, and the Coast Guard. The origin of the United States Army dates back to 1775 when the Continental Congress established the Continental Army, Continental Navy, Continental Marines, commanded and led by General George Washington. That's your first president of the United States people. This newly assembled military fought the British during an American Revolution War with French soldiers by its side, leading to a Treaty of Paris and its independence. In 1789, the new Constitution delegated the President as the Commander-in-Chief of the military, with the authority to create laws, levy taxes, and even declare war. Ever since its formation, the primary responsibility of the Army Division of the Armed Forces is to fight battles on land and deploy the military for takeover. The United States Armed Corps of Engineers mainly control the rivers of inland America. Following the war against the British Army, the U.S. Army was still relatively small and operating in peacetime. This changed in the 1940s when the Air Force became a completely separate unit outside of the Armed Forces. In 1947, control of the U.S. Army switched over from the War Department to the Defense Department. The major wars that the U.S. Army participated in were the Indian Wars in the 1790s and the War of 1812, the American Civil War of 1981, Spanish-American War of 1898, World Wars I and II in 1917 and 1941 respectively, the Korean War in 1950, the Vietnam War in 1965. The U.S. military also took part in the Gulf War in 1991 and the war in Afghanistan. I was old enough to remember that Afghanistan one. As of 2019, the Armed Forces of America fall under the command of the Department of Defense and the Coast Guard, which is authorized by the Department of Homeland Security. The President of the United States is the Commander-in-Chief, and they exercise their authority through the Secretary of Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, who supervises combat operations. And these are some of the traditions of the day, people. Many events take place in cities across the U.S. to pay homage for those who served in the military on this day. These include military service displays for the public, such as air shows, parades, open days, educational exhibits for children, and supports the troops' motorbike rallies. Many people also go on picnics to celebrate this day with family members and friends who are veterans, like moi. There are several shopping discounts available on this day. Some throw military dress-up parties or war movie marathons with so many classics to choose from, like Saving Private Ryan, Blackheart Down, Fury, Apocalypse Now, The Hurt Locker, Full Metal Jacket, my favorite, American Sniper, and Unbroken. So that's another thing you can do today. Sit back with your family, watch some movies, just reflect back on the military and just realize that it's a hard and difficult job. And by this being Mental Health Awareness Month, the military is very, very important in terms of that, because they had a lot of trauma and dealt with a lot of things while being in the military that could easily affect their mental health. So it's actually blending both of the things I was trying to do this month together. Mental health, as well as trying to take care of the veterans and recognize this fantastic day. So for all that served in the armed forces, here's to you. It's a hell of a job. I know somebody's got to do it. And fortunately for the rest of America, we decided to do it. Take care of yourself. Have a good Armed Forces Day. Hope you had a great Armed Forces Week. And I'm just trying to recognize that, like I said, I threw this together real quickly. I'm not editing it or anything. It is what it is. I just want to say thank you for your service. Lieberman out.